Of all Zack Snyder's DC efforts, Man of Steel is by far my favourite. A focused, action-packed origin story for Superman that has and will continue to age far better in the visual department than its 2013 counterparts. A hero is only as good as their villain, and the combined might of Lex Zuckerberg and Stepphenwolf doesn't hold a candle to Micheal Shannon's General Zod. I love that he was a cutthroat man of war, but also felt like he had a selfless higher purpose.
The sole purpose for which I was born. I exist only to protect Krypton.
He would stop at nothing, not for himself, but for his people on the brink of extinction.
And every action I take, no matter how violent, is for the greater good of my people.
That didn't stop him from being cruel or cowardly, but it added another dimension to an otherwise run-of-the-mill baddie.
And now, I have no people. That is what you have taken from me.
One of the most interesting canon alterations from the comics comes in the DCEU after his death. Using Kryptonian technobabble, 30 minutes or less is able to transform the corpse of Zod into Doomsday, thus connecting two separate characters from the original continuity. Usually amalgamating characters in adaptations goes poorly, but here I actually think it's a really interesting idea that, if anything, wasn't explored enough. Now General Zod is of course returning in the DCEU swan song, Andy Muschietti's The Flash.
This can't be happening.
Zod, we've been waiting for you.
I want to see more crazy mashups if we're going down the superhero multiverse road. It's one thing to have guest characters, but I think the visual of taking Keaton's Batman and juxtaposing him against the Man of Steel Kryptonians is just so weird and so surreal, I can't help but get excited. The movie is around the corner, but I doubt we'll see Doomsday unless there's some really timey-wimey shenanigans in store. So with that in mind, I thought I'd speculate on what some scenes between the two might be like. Zod and Doomsday should have met, for the General has one purpose, and Doomsday is the direct antithesis to that. A waking nightmare, a dark prophecy, a monument to his failure. This is Zod's Doomsday. But before I jump into all that, I want to talk about today's sponsor, Ridge. Ridge very kindly sent me a couple of their products to test out, including the Ridge key case and Ridge wallet. You've no doubt got a wallet or keyring, and you might be thinking, why do I need Ridge? Well, Ridge has upgraded these products from top to bottom, making them easier to use, more compact, and in my opinion, way cooler. Look at these things. Carbon fibre? Are you kidding me? The key case can securely hold up to 6 keys, keeping them firmly in place without jingling about. The key case will still ensure you can quickly and easily pull out any key you want. The Ridge wallet expands to hold up to 12 cards, plus room for cash, while remaining as slim as possible. Much better than a bulky dad wallet. The durable material means each wallet comes with a lifetime warranty, and it's also been designed with RFID blocking materials that protects you from digital pickpocketers. Very handy. With over 3 million customers and over 50,000 5-star reviews, the Ridge team is so confident you'll like it that they'll let you test drive it for 99 days. You can send it back for a full refund if you don't love it. Get yours in time for the Father's Day sale. It will be a great gift for that dad that has those pesky jangling keys. You might even be a key jangler, and if you are, there's help on the horizon. Find the best Father's Day gift using my link, ridge.com/fullfat, and right now you can save up to 40% off through June 15th. That's ridge.com/fullfat. A young boy flees on a strange alien world from a mysterious beast. He tries to hide amongst the crimson trees of the forest, but the hulking beast is always faster, stronger, and more tenacious than the boy. It towers over the weeping child, scared to death of this nightmarish creature. Zod wakes up from a common night terror. During the young Zod's many sleepless nights, his father thought of him as nothing more than a cowardly bedwetter. Even as an adult, the same dream still haunts him from childhood. The Kryptonian myth of the Doomsday creature has always tormented Zod, and on the eve of their invasion of Earth in 2013, the nightmare has come back in full force to prevent the General from resting day and night. Anxiety is high. This planet is the last hope for his people. He has a tremendous responsibility on his shoulders, and he cannot fail. Failure would mean the end of Krypton. Failure will mean his father was right to look down upon him all those years ago. Zod's hero also hails from Krypton's long history, another being of folklore who the General always believed must have been real. Tyr-El was a legendary general who supposedly ushered the people through their darkest times, fending off alien invaders and ensuring Krypton would prosper. A man that led it through its golden age when the military was also more trusted, a time before the politicians and scientists of Zod's era had led Krypton to ruin, as he sees it. He read many of the fables surrounding Tyr-El, seeing him as an inspiration. Zod could never look up to his father, too cruel and callous and belittling of his greatest efforts, but he found great solace in Tyr's legend. We dovetail into the events of The Flash and its skewered timeline of events. Of course, Barry, his doppelganger, BatKeaton and Supergirl come together to face the Kryptonian invasion. It seems to me like doppelganger Barry is going to become a darker reflection to the mainline Flash, so let's suppose that he indeed becomes the hideous Dark Flash. The Dark Flash comes to Zod in the middle of his battle with Earth. This sinister Barry has infinitely more mastery over the Speed Force than the Flash. He can age people's bodies into being decrepit and senile. He can even create tears connecting time periods together. He uses this to show Zod the outcome of the original events of Man of Steel, where Supergirl's cousin, Kal-El, stood up to him and murdered him. Zod drops to his knees before Dark Flash, bereft of joy to see the failure he has feared his entire life. But Dark Flash's antics have only yet begun. He yanks Zod into the future, past his death, to see what will become of his corpse. He has a surprise for him. Corrupted by a pathetic Weasley human being, he will be reconfigured and transformed into Doomsday. But what no one, not even the Man of Steel, would know is that during the events of BVS, Zod was resurrected in that new monstrous body. Unable to move, or speak, or take full control of his new primal form, he was forced to witness his final moments play out as the monster of his childhood before being killed once again by his murderer. Failing twice, unable to even grant himself revenge, his body becoming a perversion of everything Krypton stands for. It is implied that perhaps there was far more of Zod's consciousness in Doomsday during the events of BVS than we were initially led to believe. In spite of becoming more of a beast, there's still a part of his intelligence left inside him, forced to watch like a passive observer. Think John Cusack's fate in Being John Malkovich, or Justin Long's entrapment with his own beastly self in Tusk. For Zod, the future he is hurtling towards is pure body horror. Zod is shunted into a battleground, standing before his future self holding the slain bodies of Superman, Batman and Wonder Woman. Whilst the Dark Flash watches, Zod battles against Doomsday with all of his might. After a lengthy skirmish, he decapitates the creature. He has won, but the Dark Flash jests that the nightmare will never be over. The Dark Flash has mastery over time. He can send Zod anywhere, he can make him do it all over again. Killing Doomsday will not stop his fate. Zod then watches as the Dark Flash ages his body, past his death and into the future. He witnesses his limbs swell, his skin become coarse and rotting, his teeth turn to knives, and his hands become claws. His bones break to become longer, his muscles tear. After all the pain he has endured as a warrior, this is the most he has ever felt. A fate far worse than death, all the while knowing that his childhood tormentor has always been coming for him, right at the very end. His nightmare will not only destroy him, but take over his body too. Doomsday isn't a myth or a nightmare, it's Zod's fate. But is the future set in stone? With a snap of his fingers, the Dark Flash transports Zod back to the battle against the heroes of the alternate timeline. Was all of that another dream, a vision, or truly a showcase of the Dark Flash's godly power? All Zod knows now is that he cannot lose at any cost, not for his people, not for his own dark fate. The Dark Flash opens tears to old Krypton that then lay scattered about the present Earth battlefield. Zod is confused, but the Dark Flash insists he has only one way out. He can allow the Dark Flash to take him alone back to old Krypton. Instead of becoming the Doomsday, he could become Tyr-El. At this point, Zod ponders that maybe he always was all along, reading the fables of a man he himself created in the past. The Dark Flash tells him he can never win the battle for Earth. His only fate is to fail, but he could reshape the past of Krypton to a brighter future. Perhaps that was what was always supposed to happen. Perhaps that's always been his purpose, that his army and his people are already doomed to their demise, but Zod and Krypton could still have a chance. But would he really abandon them? Would he really abandon his code? Zod's conflict tortures him, unable to determine if the Dark Flash's offer is best for his people or merely best for himself. His purpose has always been the survival of Krypton, but if he can only lose in the present, what hope does he have? His only directive is to serve his people, save them through his knowledge and skills, but at the same time, maybe a future in the past could avoid Krypton's ruin in the first place. Zod is conflicted, unable to hide from the idea that maybe it is only appealing to him because he can avoid his own future. Has that become his primary driver now? Has he lost sight of his vows to protect the people? Zod has never been afraid to die for his cause, but this is different. Doomsday is the one thing he has always feared. Not only does he have to face failure in the present, but the desecration of his body and his mind. Going to old Krypton would mean an escape. He could finally put those night terrors to rest, and he could be the hero to his people that he's always wished to be. In the final battle, whilst the Flash and Dark Flash fight across the multiverse at the height of their powers, Batman and Supergirl deal with Zod. With Batman stood on early Krypton and Supergirl on Earth, both vow to defend each other's homes from the General. Since Krypton is not under the light of Earth's yellow sun, Zod will be about as strong as the Bat. On one battleground, two master hand-to-hand combatants, on the other, two godly beings capable of flight, heat vision, and unparalleled strength and speed. Both heroes can fight Zod in both of their arenas, and they systematically fight him simultaneously, hurling him through the tears and taking turns kicking his ass. We go from a grounded hand-to-hand brawl between Batman and Zod to a superpowered high-speed battle across the skies with Supergirl and Zod. Their teamwork is too much for him, and ends with Batman jawing him to the floor. Zod has already lost. He stands up, kneeling before no one, determined to keep fighting, except he knows it will be futile. Tyr-El is a fever dream of the past, Doomsday is a plague from the future, but only one choice serves his true purpose. Zod rejects the chance to become Tyr-El, but does not give up on his people, using the Dark Flash's twisted mastery of time against him and sending one of the birthing pods from his ship into the far-flung future. Zod provides a chance for their race to survive. He will still become Doomsday, but he is no longer afraid. His purpose was to ensure their survival, and if he must become that monster to do so, then so be it. The Dark Flash ages him during his last effort, but General Zod has been far stronger than men like his father would ever have him believe. Zod's bones and skin morph as he raises up the pods, and with one last Herculean push, he sacrifices his mind and body to his doom. The Dark Flash 300s Doomsday into the tears to old Krypton and closes them for good, sending the creature into a past where he will become the very folklore tale that would haunt the young child, cursed to live out his days as a monster. However, in the future, when the Kryptonian people awaken, they will sing songs of the man named Zod who saved their life and legacy, ensuring that they would not be the last Kryptonians. So yeah, I don't know, I'd love to see the connection between Zod and Doomsday explored one day. Maybe DC could do some comic book stories set in the now defunct DCEU, or perhaps Michael Shannon could still be the character in the rebooted movie universe. Only time will tell. But one thing is for certain, I'm very, very excited to see this character in The Flash, and I have no doubt Shannon will crush the role yet again. A big thank you to my full fat tier patron, Dr. Chike, and Nathan Shaw. If you'd like to donate money to my Patreon, you can find me at patreon.com/fullfatvideos. If you'd like to find me on Instagram, you can find me at full_fat_videos. And if you'd like to find me on Twitter, you can find me at fullfatvideos.